Previously on LegitStreetCars, I secretly supercharged my wife's 2015 Cadillac Escalade. After the installation, I convinced her that she needed to go wide open throttle to test out her new phone mount.
This is a little excessive.
Oh no, it's totally normal. Go for it.
Holy crap.
A few blasts later, my wife was hooked on the power and I had completed my lifelong goal of turning my wife into a car chick.
I have a sleeper.
Yeah, you definitely have a sleeper.
That's awesome. Yeah, I could take on this car in front of me.
What is that? An F type? Yeah, you could definitely wax that. No problem.
Let's find more of a challenge.
Then this happened.
All right, guys, check out this weird problem. We start up the supercharged Escalade, left my turn signal on, and you can see the temperature gauge is not reading anything at all. And I just got back from a 45-minute drive. Now the truck does have heat. It runs perfectly, no check engine light or anything like that. But as you can tell, the engine fans are on high speed right now, and it's about 30 degrees outside, and we're not running the air conditioning. What's even more weird, now when we shut the engine off, these fans continue to spin for about 5 minutes at high speed. So this is gonna definitely drain our battery down, especially if we're doing a lot of stop and go, and we're just letting the engine run for 10 minutes, then shutting it off. The fans go for 5, and you keep going with that, you're gonna kill your battery. All right, so I've waited for the fan to turn off, and then I disconnect the battery. We're gonna reconnect it. Light it up. All right, with the battery connected, we'll fire up this engine again. And there you go, now it's reading. And this happens every time I disconnect the battery and reconnect it. So I do believe that this is something electrical. And I also think that after we're done fixing my wife's Escalade, that we should make it sound a lot cooler and make it go faster. So she's gonna be testing the 0 to 60 in this video. So we'll get a reaction to that. And we'll also get a reaction to a lot more supercharger whine because she doesn't know I'm doing any of this stuff. Let's see, our flow, nice. So the supercharger kit has its own separate cooling system for the water to air intercooler. It's not attached to the engine's cooling system at all, like some factory cars are, because then you're getting all the coolant heated up by the engine going through your intercooler. It kind of doesn't make any sense. But I do not think that this issue has anything to do with the supercharger installation. I think it was just kind of coincidence that it broke after we did this. So it actually started acting up when I towed the 88 Camaro home, which is right there. And these fans started going nuts when we had it hooked up to the trailer. But I do think that it's just an issue with the coolant temperature sensor. This is kind of a known issue on these trucks, among many, many other things, as you guys love to point out. But luckily, this is a pretty easy fix, I believe. So right now, what I want to do is just inspect the harness. We did have to unplug this. We just want to make sure we didn't damage anything during the installation. And I have the ignition on right now, so if this was gonna act up because of a wiring issue, we'd see these fans go crazy. And you can see here that the temperature gauge is reading, so whenever this fails, it goes all the way down. All right, so with the connector removed, we can take a look at both pins and just make sure that one or both of them are not pushed in. That would cause an intermittent no contact, and it would definitely cause our issue, and these pins look fine. All right, so right now I'm just gonna start up the truck with the coolant sensor unplugged, and we'll see what it defaults to. Yep, the gauge goes all the way down, and when you shut the engine off, the fans go crazy. So what I believe is happening is I think that sensor is simply opening up, failing, and causing all of this. All right, so I just plugged the sensor back in. Fans kick off almost immediately. Now this is a little bit different because this sensor has an intermittent fail, but we'll still try to test it as soon as we get it out. All right, so our first step to replace this coolant temperature sensor is to remove the cap from the coolant reservoir. Do that only if your engine is cold or you will burn yourself. Then we are draining coolant right from the radiator, so you can turn a little drain right by the lower radiator hose on the passenger side, and it kind of just comes down this nice little channel and doesn't get all over the place. So we have that drain into our pan. All right, so with the coolant drained, we can start to remove the sensor. So I'll get that PCV hose out of the way. And I think this is gonna be a good time to replace the thermostat as well. We have 83,000-ish miles on the Escalade, and I don't have any history of that being replaced. So while we're doing the coolant flush, I think that's a good idea. Okay, got the connector off there. Okay, let's get this hose out of the way. There we go. Kind of tuck it in right there. So the thermostat housing has 3 10s. All right, that should just pull right out like so. And here is our thermostat. Oh, getting coolant all over the place. So now we can remove this guy easier. Stop spilling on my clean engine, dude. There's that. All right, so we'll get rid of the old thermostat gasket. Oh, it's on there tight. There we go. And then we're just gonna go ahead with a 19 mil wrench on the coolant temp sensor. There we go. All right, guys, so we have the new sensor right from GM and the old sensor. And this is how you would check it. So we're gonna put our meter on ohms. This has an auto feature, so we don't have to pick a range of ohms here. And we have our leads hitting both of the pins. Okay, and yeah, unfortunately, I'm probably not gonna be able to show you, wait a minute, I'm still touching. I was gonna say, I'm probably not gonna be able to show you this thing opening up live because it's so intermittent, but I have held these pins on there perfectly the whole time. Oh, what's it doing? Okay, so it is doing some crazy stuff right now. So I've disconnected and reconnected our leads here. It's reading a normal reading right now, but as you saw, it went OL for a split second out of limits, and that's because there is an open in this sensor. It just doesn't always show its face. So that is why this problem is intermittent, and I'm really glad I was able to show you guys that live. I was just about to say I'm never gonna be able to show you this because it just doesn't fail all that often. But there you have it. So a bad coolant sensor live in the flesh. All right, so we're going back together with our brand new coolant temperature sensor. And we're simply going to screw it right in and then tighten it up with the ratchet. Okay, there we go. All right, I got the connector back on. All right, so we have our brand new thermostat. It comes with the plastic housing and the seal built in. Go ahead and connect this hose here. Put our clamp in place. We'll start these 10 mils by hand. All right, it's torqued. Throw our coolant hose back on. Little PCV action. And yeah, I do want to get a catch can for this thing. I want to get something clean though, so maybe in a future video we'll do that. All right, so we got our thermostat, we got our sensor. Everything is done. I'll fill it up with coolant and let's fire it up. All right, we're almost filled up on Dexcool. Makes me feel better that we're flushing this stuff out. This stuff can get kind of nasty if you don't keep up on your maintenance. I like to replace Dexcool about every 5 years. All right, so I can already tell the new sensor is working. You can just barely see the coolant gauge registering, so that's good. And we can see the fan is spinning at a normal speed. So right now, everything is good. All right, coolant is full. I'm letting the engine completely warm up because we're gonna go for a 0 to 60 blast using the factory air box with the factory paper air filter. And then we're gonna do 2 tests. The first one will be swapping out that paper air filter for a high flow drop-in K&N air filter. This was 50 bucks. And then our second test will be a $300 cold air intake system using a gigantic high flow cone filter. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of hope that this does the same thing because I have a 30-day return on this and I'd much rather save the money, run the $50 K&N in the factory air box and call it a day. All right, I have traction control and stability control off and we're in true 4-wheel drive. So the Escalade has 2-wheel drive and then auto mode and then 4-wheel drive. And in auto mode, it senses slippage and then it sends power to the front. And we don't want any of that going on right off the line, especially with this kind of power. We don't want to break anything. So we're in true 4-wheel drive, ready to go. I'll stall it up a little bit. Here we go. That never gets old. 0 to 60, 5.1 seconds. That's pretty good. A 6,500-ish pound Escalade, and we have stuff in the back. Like, I didn't empty everything out. This is real world. So we have like hockey gear, car seats, and stuff like that. So we're really close to the 4-second range. That's awesome. I'm really excited about that. So let's just swap the K&N air filter like right now, outside in the cold. All right, so I brought some tools on the road. We're gonna take this entire plastic thing off just to get this metal brace off. It's kind of a weird design. But I just looked it up, and a factory 2015 Escalade does 0 to 60 in 6.1 seconds. So we've shaved over 1 second off the 0 to 60 with this blower. All right, big plastic thing coming out. So we just looked this up. A 2005 Mustang GT does 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds. So this is faster than that.
An 88 Countach does 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds, so we're knocking on the door of an 80s Lamborghini, kind of a weird comparison. And the first generation SRT 8 Chargers did 0 to 60 in 5 seconds flat, so we're right there. So these are some serious, you know, performance cars. I don't know if the Mustang's that serious, but these are performance cars that we're beating with a big Escalade. It's pretty cool. My shop's only like 2 blocks away, but I'm very, very impatient. We got to do this outside. It's kind of a nice day. All right, factory paper Fram air filter. All right, so I'm curious to see the difference in sound with the K&N and just no filter at all. Go ahead, Max. Sounds pretty cool with no air filter whatsoever, so let's plop this guy in. Now, I know there's gonna be comments, Alex, the K&N filters ruin your mass airflow sensor, blah, blah, blah. Guys, I've never really seen that. I know people talk about it on the internet, but mass airflow sensors do just simply fail. It's not always because of a K&N air filter that's been in your car, you know, for 5 years, but I don't like to oil them all that much, so maybe that helps, but we're just running the factory oil, and we're gonna be just fine. All right, I'm crossing my finger that this sounds cool. Whenever you're ready, Max. Nah, sounds pretty much stock with the K&N. Oh well, let's go see if it's changed performance at all. All right, test number 2. I'll stall it up the same way I did. There we go. Kind of felt faster. All right, so now it's verified. I'm not exactly sure what the difference is between verified and non-verified, but 5 seconds flat, basically, 5.07, so a little bit faster with the K&N. And those runs were within like 15 minutes of each other, so, you know, the second run was probably a little bit warmer than the first run, so it did something. All right, so let's start to get this intake off, disconnect the mass airflow sensor, and here is our little dilemma. The throttle body that's on this Magnuson Supercharger is the factory throttle body. I just swapped it over, so that's fine. But the placement of it, I don't think is exactly the same as the factory intake manifold. I think it's kind of sticking up on an angle. The intake kit I bought for this truck is meant for a factory intake manifold, no blower. So we'll see if we can get it to fit properly and see if it does anything too. Okay, get the box out of here. And now this out of here. All right, get the K&N off. And this factory airbox just kind of lifts up. There we go. Get this guy out of here too. Okay, so we're gonna start by assembling this heat shield. It comes in 2 different parts. So we just have 3 screws, 3 washers, and 3 lock nuts. All right, so next up we are placing this velocity stack adapter on the inside of the box. And then this guy goes like so. And then we'll throw a clamp here. All right, cool. We'll tighten this up once it gets in there. All right, then we just have this nice weather stripping. And this is going to keep the heat out of the area that the air filter sits. And just gotta push this on. This is really nice, actually. This is really good quality. Okay, so this guy is ready to be bolted into the truck now. And before we install the heat shield, we do have to remove 3 10 mils. Okay, now we can go ahead and install this guy. Wow, this fits really nice too. Lines right up. So a better comparison is a 2015 SRT 8 Grand Cherokee. It does 0 to 60 in 4.8 seconds. So we're right there. Who knows, maybe this intake will make this thing a couple tenths faster. And I had Max in the truck filming. We got all this stuff in the back. I could probably do some serious weight reduction and get in that 4.8 range. But we're gonna find out. And my wife's gonna be blasting it to 60 here in a few minutes as well. And who knows, maybe my wife is the driver mod that we need to dip into the 4s also. We're gonna find out.
All right, there we go. And next up is installing this massive filter. When I first saw this, I'm like, what in the world? I've never seen an opening this large, but that's what the adapter is for. So let's go ahead and install this big guy. All right, one-handed. Let's see if I can do it. There we go. It's pretty easy. No, you need two hands. All right, here we go. Okay, filter is on. All right, next up we have to install the elbow on the throttle body. They give you two of these because the 5.3 liter engines have a smaller one, so we won't be using this one, but we will be using this guy. So this comes factory with a 90 millimeter throttle body, and I'll leave this loose at the moment until we get the pipe all situated. Okay, so next up we have to install the intake tube, and this is the part I'm a little worried about because hopefully this doesn't interfere with anything with the throttle body being in a slightly different angle. Okay, I found an issue right off the bat. Doesn't look like this pipe is long enough, unfortunately. It's definitely not the fault of the kit. The throttle body is just in a different spot than it was from the factory. So, all right, let me see what I can do. Maybe I can kind of just bend this a little bit and make it work. All right, yeah, it's not looking too good. If I bend this forward, it still doesn't reach. So I'm gonna just see what happens here. We'll put the no, this isn't gonna work either. That's gonna be short as well. I don't know. Let's try it anyway. All right, so I'll get rid of this guy. I'll remove this. This is where this ends up. Oh, man. It's even worse. If I just had a little tube extension right here, we'd be good. All right, so we had to get very creative here with this intake because it's just a little bit short. So we heated up some water, and we're baking a 3-inch coupler. This is a 3.5-inch pipe, so we have to slide that over. That's all we got to work with. Okay, so I just went and got this extra piece of shiny tube from a speed shop down the street. They had one laying around, so eventually I'll get around to painting it black if this works. All right, cool. Let's tighten this guy on. All right, so we pretty much have this tube right up against here. This is sealing in between. It's not going anywhere. We definitely don't need clamps, although I guess I could throw some on if I have them around here. This is all tight, and there we go. So in case you were wondering, if you buy one of these Spectrum cold air intakes for your GM truck and then you put a Magnuson blower on it, you're gonna need a little bit more pipe or an elbow that kind of just goes out a little bit more. So I don't know, I'll clean this up later. This is an experiment. Remember on the dyno, when we just pulled up the air box, we gained 20 wheel horsepower. So this is essentially that. This is like a wide open, no restriction air intake system. And it should actually make a performance difference. All right, so now the last thing we have to do is install the new tubes for the PCV system. So we have two of those, just regular tube with some clamps. So not as nice as the Magnuson kit had it. And this one doesn't seem to reach either. Great, great, that doesn't reach. All right, so I found the totally wrong size hose for this up in the attic. The 5/8 hose that they gave us to run from here to here doesn't work. And again, I'm just gonna assume it doesn't work because of the placement is all different here. But anyway, I have a bunch of this at home. I don't have it here at the shop. This is gonna have to work for now. Yeah, we'll get that clamped down. It's just PCV, it'll be okay. All right, here is our makeshift hose that I will be replacing soon. When I pick up my wife from home, I'll use some 5/8 hose on here and do it properly. So this definitely is not my finest work, but it's just PCV. It's gonna be okay. It's still gonna suck in our crankcase gases and burn them in the intake for emissions purposes. It's just gonna look like really bad doing it. Okay, I had to cut this one down to size. Right there and right there. And yeah, I definitely like the way Magnuson did this better because you got to use the factory tubes. This is just a little cheap. Okay. Are we all good here? No, we're not. We need a mass airflow sensor. All right, so I took the mass airflow sensor out of the factory tube. We just got to install it here. They give you new hardware. And it's totally professional to be a guy speaking on camera and to hold screws in your mouth when you work, because that's what we do. Okay, that's in. There we go. I think we're good. Oh man, I hope this makes some cool noises. That's all I have to say. And, you know, makes it faster. That'd be cool too, but I'm not gonna lie. With the Escalade, I'm just more interested in it whining more. I wanna hear the supercharger. All right, Max, whenever you're ready. Ooh, I heard a little whistle there. Okay. Max? Give it some more.
Yes, we can hear the supercharger. That is awesome. And what's nice is it's pretty quiet at idle, so my wife probably won't notice any of this just driving around normally. But you know, when she lays into it, testing 0 to 60, she'll definitely know something was done. Again. One more time, Max. All right, let's go test 0 to 60. We'll see how I do, and then we'll go see how my wife does. All right, let's see, just normally driving. Oh yeah, you can hear a little bit. But it's not like annoying. Like, my wife's not gonna not like that. I think. I'm telling myself that right now because I'm hoping she's totally fine with this. After the supercharger, she's like, you know, this is great. She loves the supercharger. She's like, I just don't want like a loud car. So she's like, don't do any exhaust work or anything like that. And I'm like, that's cool. I get it. It's an Escalade, but that's a luxurious sound. That's how an Escalade should sound. Maybe I can convince her that a luxurious sound is a real thing. I don't know. Oh man. All right, traction control and everything is off again. We're in the exact same spot. It's the same day, same weather. We'll stall it up the same way. And here's our launch. Woo-hoo. 5.23 to 60. Wow. Now this is kind of tough to do, testing 0 to 60 because there's so many other variables, but yeah, no, it's verified. 5.23 seconds to 60. Huh. All right, let's try this again. I didn't really like the 1 to 2 shift. Let's see. These trances just aren't the best. All right, let's see. 5.14. So we're right there, but it is technically slower with the cold air intake. So yeah, I mean, realistically, it's probably equivalent. It probably didn't do much, which is weird. I'm not gonna lie, because I mean, we had it right on the dyno, factory airbox, and then just simply lifting the airbox up gained 20 wheel horsepower, and it's not doing it for us right now. So anyway, with that, let's go get my wife. All right, guys, it's the next day. I'm back at home base. My wife is getting ready. She should be out any minute now. And something I want to fix before we go for a ride is this hose right here. So this is the proper size hose, and this is not. It's a lot looser than I thought. We can pretty much just pull this thing off. So this is a PCV hose, but this can cause an issue with the mass airflow sensor. Here's the mass airflow sensor. If we have a leak here that is unmetered air, and that can cause the transmission to shift funky, which I thought our 1 to 2 was way more delayed than before, and it can cause all sorts of other issues with fueling as well. So I'm not saying that's why we ran 1/10 of a second slower to 60. I mean, that could really be anything. The engine's just a little bit warmer than it was before, and a slew of other variables, but we don't want an issue like this. So although this is blue, I have the right size hose, and let's patch this up. Okay, so here you go. Even if this was black, I really don't like how this looks compared to the Magnuson intake that used the factory PCV hoses that just clipped right on. This just looks really bad. And also, I can't put the hose in here and make it shorter or anything because, see this linkage right here? It has to move out, so we can't have the hose in the way. So anyway, this is obviously just temporary. I don't really like it. Also, I don't really like this. So this isn't an issue if it's naturally aspirated, but this could actually suck in with a blower. I've seen this on turbo cars on my Trans Am where we had a kind of weak elbow on an intake system I made, and this would suck shut when we were at wide open throttle. So I'm not a big fan of that either. So anyway, we'll see how this whole thing works out. And at the end, I'll probably decide what I'm going to do with this. All right, so you ready for this?
Yes.
We're gonna be blasting off to 60 miles an hour. I already turned your traction control off and stability control, but you are in 2-wheel drive right now. So you see the knob over there by the vent?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you do 1 click, it's auto, and then another click is 4-wheel drive. So go to 4-wheel drive, there we go.
Okay.
Okay, so this is only for straight line. You can't use this around turns. It's really bad for the truck.
Alex, don't scare me.
Well, it's gonna be fine right now because we're just doing a straight line run, but when we need to turn around, we got to go back to either auto or 2-wheel drive. That's all. Okay.
Are we could we flip?
No, we're not gonna flip. We're not gonna flip.
If I turned the wheel accidentally, could I flip?
Not at all. No flip. No flip is gonna happen here.
Right. Right. Oh my gosh.
But your truck is fixed, by the way.
Thanks.
Yes.
So no fan.
Yeah, no fan. When you get out, the fan will be off and your gauge works.
and we're all good there. So you have a very impressive time to beat here to 60. Yeah. I did 5.07 seconds to 60.
And that's good.
That's pretty good. Yeah, like, so we looked it up. The ESV Escalade is actually 6.4 to 60 from the factory. So we've knocked off 1.4 seconds. That's a lot in the world of 0 to 60, by the way.
Well, any racing.
In any racing, yeah, like seconds count, you know, drag racing and all that kind of stuff. But 0 to 60, it's a very short distance, so that's a big deal. So anyway, you think you could beat it?
I mean, why not?
I think you could do it. I think you could do it. So let's see what happens. You ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, and for everybody wondering, the truck's weight is just about the same with Max, even though he's 6'4". I went and got more gas, and there's more stuff in the back, so we're equal. All right, ready?
I got to 60 hours.
All right.
Like, how's that scary?
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Oh my gosh.
So what do you think you got?
I mean, I have no idea.
Well, you've never done this before?
No. I can't even imagine what my face looks like. Oh my God.
You did 5.39 to 60. Verified. 5.39 to 60. So the weather is the same today. Everything's the same. We are on a different racetrack today, but the DA and everything like that is identical as yesterday. So I think the difference there was when I did it, I stalled it up a little bit.
What does that even mean?
That is when you hold the brake and then you give it a little bit of gas just to raise the RPMs to like 1,500 RPMs. And then you let off the brake and you floor it at the exact same time.
Right. I don't even know what you're saying right now.
Stalling it up.
I'm just like, keep thinking about that drag, whatever I just did. And like, I don't even know. Okay. So.
All right. I think if you stall it up, you got a chance. So let's do it.
All right. How do I stall it up?
Okay, so you're gonna hold the brake, and then just try it right now. You're gonna hold the brake, and then hit the gas a little bit.
So I gotta use both.
You gotta use both feet. Yep.
Okay. So I'm revving.
Yeah, just like that. And so see how it kind of wants to lurch and go.
Yeah.
Then right then and there, you're gonna let off the brake and hit the gas, and you're launching. Launch control. Escalade launch control.
This is not normal.
This is totally normal. All right, go ahead and give it a little stall up. So brake. There you go. Yep. Now just hold it right above the 1. Yeah, there you go. Right there. Right there. Now you're going to floor it and brake off at the same time. Oh, that was good. Good job. All right.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa! You did it!
What did I do?
4.98 seconds. You beat my time.
Oh my God.
Good job. That was a great launch. Yeah, that was really good. 4.9 seconds to 60 with my wife driving with the cold air intake. Oh, I mean, did that sound different? No? Oh, she didn't even notice. I did something to it, by the way. Again. I totally blew it too. And that was like, so I put a cold air intake. I thought you were going to notice right away, but it's got like a little bit more whine to it.
Oh, okay.
You didn't notice. No. Hey, I'm okay with that because I can hear it.
Okay.
And I think it sounds good.
I heard it, but I just thought it was the same. Yeah.
But louder.
Okay.
So just for you guys out there, here's a clip of us before when I first surprised her with the factory airbox.
Oh my God.
We broke traction.
Holy cow. All right.
And now here's another clip of what we just did right now. And there is your sound comparison. So yeah, it's not too crazy, but I think it sounds good. You want to see it?
Oh, like actually take a look at it?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. I'll look at it.
There it is. You probably don't even know what I changed,
like,
right?
Am I looking at? Is it this?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's this. So you have a gigantic air filter here, and it's considered a cold air intake because cold air is going to come through here, the fender. I don't know if you can see that hole.
Oh yeah, I can see it. Okay.
Yeah, so from the factory, it's like a sealed box that has foam that seals around there, and it works actually really well. I mean, we basically ran the same time to 60 with the factory box. So apparently this isn't really all that needed, but yeah, this is it. I just got to clean it up though. I had to
Clean it up.
Yeah, I don't like this blue hose right here. And I had to add this. Everything's a little bit different because of the supercharger, so I don't know. Then again, you didn't even really notice the wine.
I mean, I was concentrating on everything else.
Yeah.
I was nervous. I was thinking about my launch, that I wasn't like thinking about noise.
So I don't know. I have like a 30-day return. I just got this thing on Amazon. So, I mean, performance is pretty much the same. I might just go back to the factory intake and just save the $300. And then we could take that $300 and get a new throttle body. Do you want a new throttle body?
I think you do.
I do. They make a 104 millimeter throttle body. This is a 90 millimeter throttle body, and it's from Magnuson. So it's meant to work with their kit and everything like that. So I think that might be a little bit more worth it. And then maybe I'll do like a custom intake that's just a little, I don't know, cleaner and nicer than this. It's not that bad. I mean, if this truck was stock, I think this would look really nice. We wouldn't have the blue hose and everything going on. But it does make a little bit more noise, but I think we can do better. So I don't know if I can surprise you anymore with stuff. I might just have to tell her about that one. But anyway, oh, this is your new part, by the way. Look. See that guy?
Yeah.
That is your new coolant temperature sensor. And I did a new thermostat. This guy right here.
Nice. It's what I've always wanted.
That's the one you've always wanted. She doesn't care. No, it's a really good quality thermostat, trust me, all right? Okay, so the next video with the Escalade is gonna be at the track. My wife is gonna be racing it at the quarter-mile drag strip, and I'm thinking we should bring our other 7-seater vehicle.
Oh, the wagon?
The wagon. E55 wagon and the Escalade are both 7-seaters, and they're both supercharged V8 7-seaters.
Okay.
They have a lot more in common than people may think now. So I think it'd be cool to drag race. I mean, the E55 is gonna smoke this thing, but
oh man.
yeah, it's way faster. But yeah, I think it'll still be fun. I mean, you might get me off the line because it's all-wheel drive.
So wait, what other cars can go 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds?
Well, actually, Max and I were Googling this earlier. You can beat Mustangs now.
No way.
There's lots of Mustangs you can beat. Sorry, Mustang guys.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah, like newer-ish, like 2005 GT V8 Mustangs, you can beat those. Believe it or not, like my Trans Am, like back in 2002, wasn't much faster to 60 than this, especially if someone didn't know how to drive. Older E55s you would probably take out. They were right in this range. Oh, the Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT8, which is like their high-performance Grand Cherokee, is a 4.8. So you're right there.
Okay.
That's like a driver's race at that point. Like if you stall it up like you did there and that guy doesn't, you're winning that race.
Nice.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of cars you could beat. Imports, like little Hondas with loud, fart can mufflers, you could definitely take those.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably take those out anyway, but yeah, so this thing it's serious. You got a
Alright,
serious
cool.
Escalade now.
Cool.
So we're gonna see how serious it is at the quarter-mile drag strip, along with the E55 wagon. So more Escalade stuff is coming. We just have to wait about a month until the track opens. So anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed my wife beating my 0 to 60 time, then make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Share the video, subscribe if you're new, and check out LegitStreetCars.com if you want to get some merch. And most importantly, oh, you need some merch, don't you? Yeah, she needs some merch too. You gotta come by the office. You can grab. I'll bring it home tonight. Check it out if you guys want some merch. Most importantly, though, have a great day. We'll catch all of you in the next video.